Well, greetings and welcome to our devotion time. Our last time together, we read about Sarah taking matters into her own hands about providing Abram a legacy. And how will the Lord free Sarah from her doubting mind might be our next question as we go into the text here in Genesis chapter 16. Abram's response to Sarah's idea, like Adam's response to Eve's idea in Genesis 3:6, where Adam took the fruit and ate, and Abram ended up taking the slave, and we see what happens there. Uh, Here is how Scripture tells us the story. Abram listened to, and remember that word shamad, he listened to the voice of Sarah, and we've talked about this. God says, I want you to shema, I want you to listen to my voice, not anybody else's voice, but his voice. And we'll encounter this again with Moses as well, if we get to that section. But Abram, we're told in the story, Abram listened to, or shema, the voice of Sarah, Abram's wife, and took Hagar, the Egyptian, her handmaiden, after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave to Abram her husband to be his wife. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And this is Genesis 16, verses 1 through 3. So Sarah feared that she would never be able to provide Abram with an heir, and she therefore reevaluated her role and accepted for herself a lesser destiny than what the Lord had intended for her. She thought she had found a way to be the spiritual mother of the promised seed of Abraham without necessarily being the birth mother. She therefore urged Abram to take Hagar, and all the time planning to be the one responsible for raising and training the child to be a proper heir to the spiritual throne of Abram. And that is actually, historically, that's the Babylonian way of doing things. In Babylon, which certainly influenced Abram and Sarah, it influenced the land of Ur, where they were from, and it was completely legal and, in fact, customary that if a married woman was incapable of bearing a child to continue the line of the husband, she could give her maidservant to her husband as a second wife so that the man would not be childless. Therefore, if she chose, she could adopt the handmaiden's child as her own, and this was the Babylonian plan. But it wasn't God's plan. This plan conflicts with the Lord's plan as set forth in Genesis 2:24. And there we're told, a man shall therefore leave his father and mother and be united with his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Abram's wife was Sarah, not Hagar. The spiritual reality neither he nor Sarah grasped was that he could not join himself to Hagar without breaking the union he had with Sarah. And when Abram embraced Hagar, something happened that went well beyond the physical realm. The two joinders, these two humans engaged in an act of procreation involving much more than just a temporary physical union. This was the flesh of two human beings in an intimate manner, which extends into the soul. And when Abram and Hagar came together, something spiritual took place. Their souls, perhaps we could say, intermingled. A part of Hagar's soul attached itself to Abram's soul, and vice versa. As a result of the union, Abram's soul became marred, and Hagar's soul became marred as well. And ultimately, the soul of Abraham's soulmate, Sarah, wound up becoming marred as well because of this going against God's plan and going the Babylonian plan. It affected every aspect of them, their minds, their wills, their emotions. It was all involved, and we'll talk more about what that means in our later stories. But I want us to think about that today, that Sarah took matters into her own hand, but we could see she blew it, but God's going to step into that moment and make a way there as well. Well, you have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Blessings. Bye now.